Sunday. I hope you're well. Today we are going to do another bedtime story from the Scottish Folk and Fairy Tales book. So the story that I've chosen today is this one, and it's called The Gosak and the Brave Lady. This is a story from the Scottish borders. These were once known as the Debatable Lands, when the Scots and the English would cross the border to raid each other's houses and lands. Many traditional tales of long ago involved the gallant hero rescuing the fragile maiden. In this story, the heroine, Jean, decides to rescue herself. Jean of Morton was in love with William of Aikenwood, and William of Aikenwood was in love with Jean of Morton. Good and well, you might say, but you would be wrong, for Aikenwood lay just north of the border in the wild and beautiful countryside of bonny Scotland, while Morton was a few miles south of the border in the fair sweet land of England. And at the time of this story, the English and the Scots did not get along well together at all. They ran off with each other's livestock and set fire to each other's castles and keeps. The border rivers rode up and down the border, plundering and fighting and stealing the sheep and cattle and generally behaving badly and causing trouble. Who was the most to blame was anyone's opinion, so I'll leave it up to yourself to be the judge of that. It's a bit controversial. Jean's father, the Earl of Morton, had 8 pretty daughters. He had warned them that under no circumstances were any of them to even smile at a Scotsman, far less talk to one. Never in their lifetime would he allow them to visit Scotland, and he said that he would kill any Scotsman who entered through his gate. This caused Jean, who was the youngest and prettiest, much distress and unhappiness. Many months previously, riding out with her sisters, she had lost her way and wandered over the border into Aikenwood. She had stopped to let her horse drink at a little stream, and there she had met William, a handsome young Scotsman. The two of them had at once fallen deeply in love. William of Aikenwood was a fine hunter. He rode out each day with his hounds and his horses, his Gosak sitting proudly on the leather gauntlet on his left arm. Now this hawk had very special powers. As well as being a swift and deadly prince of the skies, it could think and talk almost as well as humans. Indeed, in some cases better. And it wasn't long before the bonny bird noticed that his master was pining away. "What ails thee, sire?" asked the clever Gosak. "I see that thy mind is not on the hunt today." There's the Gosak. "That is true, my bonny bird," said William sadly. "Neither my heart nor my mind is with thee on this morn. They are far, far away across the border with my own dear Jean." He sighed heavily as he thought of how they could never be together. "I cannot even speak to her," he went on. "I am not allowed within sight of her. Yet I want to tell her how much I dearly love her and I wish to marry her." The bird turned his bright black eyes on William and said, "Write out your message, and I will fly straight and sure with it to thine own true love." The lady, Jean, was sitting in her flower garden with her 7 sisters when a strange bird came and settled nearby on a birch tree. Jean watched this bird as it began to sing. First it sang sweet and then low. Then it sang loud and clear. And as it sang, Jean thought she heard it say her name over and over. "Jean," trilled the bird. "Jeanie, Jeanie, fairest flower o' England, Jeanie, bend thy head and list to me. Jeanie, Jeanie, you speak my name?" she asked, and she stretched out a hand. The Gosak fluttered its feathers, and William's message fell to the ground. Jean read his letter telling her that he would go each day to St. Mary's Kirk near Aikenwood, where he wanted to marry her. He wrote that he hoped that she would come to him, and that he would wait for her until the end of time. Jean thought for a while, and then she smiled a merry smile. "Tell your master I will be there," she said, "and that he must listen for the sound of bells." Straight away she went to see her father. "Father," Jean spoke up bravely, "you would never allow me to spend my life in Scotland, but would you allow me to spend my death there?" "Daughter," her father said, "I do not understand your question." "It is not a question that I ask of you," Jean replied, "but a boon that I beg. Grant me this wish. When I die, I should like to be dressed in a linen shroud and carried forth upon a bier to rest in St. Mary's Kirk." Her father laughed loud and long. "I fear it is you who will be first to see me at rest," he said, "but if it pleases you, then I will grant you your wish." Jean then spoke to her sisters. "If I should die," she said, "will you make me a shroud of finest cloth? Also, to mark my passing, I would like each of you to fasten a little silver bell upon it." Her sisters tried to coax away her gloomy thoughts, but finally they promised to do as Jean had asked. Jean hurried through the castle halls to her chamber. There she prepared a strong sleeping potion and drank it down. Her eyes closed, her cheeks turned pale, and everyone thought that she was dead. There she is, having taken her sleeping potion. Her sisters came and stood over her. They could not rouse her. Then they lamented sorely at the loss of their youngest sister, but in keeping with their last wishes, they sewed her a white linen shroud, and each of them stitched a silver bell to the side. The next morning they laid Jean on an oaken bier and carried her over the border into Scotland, towards Aikenwood. As the sad procession wound its way slowly to the Kirk of St. Mary, all the little bells tinkled one by one, just as Jean had planned. Deep in the surrounding forest, William of Aikenwood heard the bells ringing. He stretched out his arm to his faithful Gosak, and faithful Gosak flew down, the rest upon his wrist. Together they rode swiftly to St. Mary's Kirk. When the funeral party left, William slipped quietly into the tiny chapel. He strode down the aisle and he gazed at his beloved Jean. Her face was as white as the lily flower, and her cheek as cold as the snow on the border hills. He knelt beside her and took her hand gently in his own. Then the rosy colour came back to her face and lips. She opened her eyes and smiled at her gallant. "I am happy to be here with you, my love," said the Lady Jean. "As I am with thee," said William of Aikenwood. And that is the end of this story. This was quite a short story, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you know much about Scotland, you'll know about the history between Scotland and England, how it was forbidden for those from either side to come together in any sort of positive manner. Fortunately, times have moved on and we are not like that to this day. We get on mostly well, socially, politically, that's another story. After all, they managed to get married, even if the girl had to deceive her family. I hope that you enjoyed the reading from this story today. A bit of a short one. Next Sunday, I'll pick a longer one. It's a very big book, as you can see. It's like twice the size of my head, so there are plenty of stories